So much just happened in the past 24 hours. The US just raised their tariffs on China by 125%, but they also paused for 90 days their tariffs across the entire world for all of the countries that did not retaliate. In today's video, we'll be discussing exactly that, the recent market surge when that announcement came out, and we'll also be going over the exact levels that I'm looking to trade on the chart and some very important news items that are coming out today. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So as I kicked it off here, China retaliated against the US, imposing more tariffs on their goods, and then the US came back out and raised their tariffs on China for 125%. Now, at the time that this came out, we actually briefly dipped on the Bitcoin chart. But then, only minutes after, President Trump came out and said there will be a 90-day tariff pause effective immediately. Bitcoin soared from $74,500 all the way up to $82,000 in a matter of minutes. If we take a look at the Bitcoin chart, this is what it looked like. We had a massive green candle yesterday, and if I zoom out on the hourly time frame, this is what we saw. A huge surge from this bottom all the way up, and we actually made it to $83,500. Now you can imagine that it wasn't only Bitcoin that started soaring, because we also saw the S&P 500 explode to the upside. And if we take a look at the price action, it was actually from the bottom of this wick all the way up, approximately a 13% move in one day. That's not the only records that were being broken, because the NASDAQ also soared more than 10%, which was the biggest gain since all the way back into October 2008. So what is next? How should you be navigating these markets? Because this is a ton of volatility. First of all, I would always recommend that you're keeping up to date with what Trump is saying. Normally, I wouldn't say this and you should just be trading the technicals, but right now we are in a very news-driven market, and this could certainly influence a lot of your trades. Trump came out 3 hours before announcing the 90-day pause on tariffs, and he said, "This is a great time to buy." Stocks and crypto didn't really move around this time because most people thought that this was just another one of Trump's sayings, just a nothing burger. But as I put it here, after all his rugs, he finally gave us some proper alpha. And the reality was, if you were to enter a leverage long or just buy spot when Trump said this, you would have made significant profits just on the news of the 90-day pause. So if you want to keep up to date with all this kind of news, make sure you go ahead and follow me on X, because I'm posting about this news in real time as it happens. But yeah, that was crazy. And we even have Trump bragging about it, talking about how all of his friends have made billions of dollars based on what just happened. Check this out.
He made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million.
He made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million. Crazy stuff that we're seeing. This is insider trading right in front of our eyes. Now, in the meantime, if I'm taking a look at the Bitcoin chart, what we want to do here is zoom out a little bit and look at our key levels. You'll remember that a couple videos ago, I talked about the 81.1K being a crucial level for Bitcoin to hold. We weren't able to hold it after trying for consecutive days. Then we dumped below it and we came back down, potentially forming a double bottom right around $74,500. Now, is Bitcoin going to go ahead and retest this level for a few more days, depending on the announcements? If we break this level once again, it's likely that the low isn't in. But for now, with this tariff pause, there is definitely a little bit of relief in the market, as we can see that massive green candle. And over here, I had it marked in red because it was acting as resistance previously. But the thing is, with this kind of news-driven market, a lot of the times the technicals get thrown out of the window because of one thing that Trump says that can impact the entire market, which is a little bit of an annoying way to trade the market, but that's why you always need to make sure that you're up to date with these kinds of things. I personally did not enter along, and you'll remember in my previous video that I was doubting whether or not the bottom was in. Now, if we didn't get that announcement from Trump, I would have been willing to bet that the bottom was not in and that we would go lower. But for now, we tagged 74.5K on 2 occasions, and so it's time to see if this will hold as support and we will move much higher from here. Now, perhaps this is a little bit of consolidation, but I do want to bring your attention to this which is the current pre-markets. I'm filming this video before the US stock market opens, and we can see that the pre-market is indeed red. This potentially means that some investors are cashing out on their profits that they made yesterday if they timed the bottom. So we'll have to see what happens here. In terms of Bitcoin, again, you want to hold 81.1K as support before you would consider going long. Personally, I'm not actually actively trading this price action because I want to wait for further confirmations. Now, if you want to trade this price action and you think that the bottom is in for Bitcoin, I would highly recommend that you sign up with the first link in my description down below to my favorite exchange called Weeks. You get a 50% deposit bonus if you sign up with my link and my link alone. It's the first link in my description. That means that if you deposit $2,000 into your account, you get $1,000 back for trading. And it's also as easy as signing up with just an email and a password. A great exchange, and I would highly recommend it. Now, what I wanted to show you was the liquidation heat maps, and we can see that we grabbed a lot of liquidity to the upside on this 3-day chart versus some new liquidity is starting to show below. If we zoom in a little bit closer and look at the 1-day chart, what we can see here is that liquidity is starting to pile up in both directions. So it would not surprise me if we go ahead and grab both sides of the equation. Potentially, one would argue that there's more liquidity to the upside right now, but we never know with all of this tariff talk, which is why I've been a little bit more careful with trading this market. Now, in terms of buying spots, I was very transparent with you. I bought some Bitcoin right around $75,000, and I bought some Ethereum right around $1,500 as well. Bitcoin dominance, same theme. I mean, this wick is going to get filled, as we've been discussing on the channel for a very long time now. If you've been subscribed, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The next level, once this wick gets filled with all of the current market uncertainty, would be all the way up here to 72%. Now, I'm not sure if we can actually make it this high, but it was a former area of resistance, so we do need to consider it if we break above 64.3% on the Bitcoin dominance chart. Total crypto market cap, this one is extremely interesting because we discussed this current level being a support level for the total crypto market cap, and right now it's looking like we're trying to hold it as support. A lot will depend on the tariffs, but hey, we are heading in the right direction because the EU also announced a pause on their tariffs for the US. So it seems like things are starting to resolve themselves, but keep in mind that this is only a pause. If we get to the end of those 90 days and no agreements were made, it will likely shake the market out once again. What you need to pay attention to in the immediate short term is the inflation data that is coming out likely right when I upload this video. If you want to access this website, it's called tradingeconomics.com/calendar. And if you toggle to the US section, you will be able to see in real time when the inflation data comes in and how it will impact the market. And the last thing that I want to discuss here is something very interesting that I think you need to consider when it comes to trading. This is a ridiculously unpredictable market at the moment. Even the top fund managers in the world don't have a clue how they should be trading this market. Trump is really shaking things up. Probably some of the worst conditions for short, mid fundamental trade ideas. So instead, focus on your long-term core positions, Bitcoin, Ethereum, even stocks for that matter. If you bought the dip, you're likely in a lot of profit. Also, focus on limiting your risk. There's times in the market where you really want to be aggressive and trade, and you can make a significant amount of your profits for the year in a few months. But there's also several months where it's not the best trading environments. Now, me personally, I'm waiting for some confirmations of higher levels for Bitcoin for me to even consider longing because we are still very much in a downtrend, but I'm just taking it easy day by day and seeing how things develop. Also, spend less energy on trading, more energy on building other things outside of trading when the markets are not favorable for trading. Now, I'm not saying that they're not necessarily favorable, but what I am saying is that I'm just taking on a little bit less risk at this current moment. The key things here are to survive and setting yourself up to benefit in the long term. And that sums up today's video. We have the inflation data coming out very soon, and it will likely cause a ton of volatility, and the tariffs seem to be resolving themselves if we exclude China, Canada, and Mexico. Let's see how things develop. I will be uploading on this channel on a daily basis, so if you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.